Did the Carroll Doctrine apply to a vehicle in a school parking lot that was had evidence of a shooting? All right, this officer is from Texas, and he basically says that we had a call. A shooting happened in a parking lot. Okay, so the victim was a female. I'm not even sure if she was a student or not. It wouldn't matter, but probably not. I think I'm kind of getting the tone that it wasn't really a student, but because the shooting occurred in the school parking lot, the officers that were actually part of the school district police responded, and they were lead on the scene since it's on their jurisdiction. And the victim was getting life care. The cops had reasonable probable cause, basically a fair probability that the shooting occurred in the vehicle, and that likely means that we're going to have evidence of that shooting in the vehicle. Maybe a drug transaction gone bad, maybe some shell casings. Hell, maybe even the gun is still in the car, right? Maybe the perpetrator left behind a wallet, whatever those things are, right? So the bosses, the brass, right, were like, no, you have to go get a search warrant for this vehicle. And ultimately, they got consent from the victim, and everything ended up okay. But push comes to shove, would the officer need the consent of the victim in this case to search the car for evidence? Okay, well, let's make it clear that the motor vehicle exception, i.e., the Carroll Doctrine, excuse me, which is based on a case from 1925, right, says that if you have probable cause that evidence of a crime is in a vehicle, you can search that vehicle as long as it's readily mobile, right, which means it has the ability to drive, doesn't have to be, no agencies required. It has the ability to move, and it's not on curtilage, right? That's a case called Collins v. Virginia. It's not on curtilage. And you search it as if you had a warrant. Well, what I always tell my officers when you're trying to, figure out all these, car cases, probable cause cases, is just ask yourself, do you think you could get a warrant from a judge to search that car for evidence, right? And if you're like, yeah, we can get a warrant, then you are also saying at the very same time that you have the motor vehicle exception. Therefore, when my command staff at this agency are saying, hey, you got to go get a search warrant, what they are also saying at the same time is that they think that there is probable cause, right? Why would they tell an officer to get a warrant if they didn't think there was probable cause? So they're also saying that they think there's probable cause. Well, then they're also saying that the motor vehicle exception applies. See, getting a warrant for cars is optional, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's optional in the vast majority of states, right? States like New Mexico, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Washington, they have, more strict rules, right? But not Texas. So if the officers wanted to just search that car and recover the evidence on scene, they don't need consent and they don't need a warrant. But are there benefits to getting that warrant? Of course there are. The Supreme Court case, U.S. versus Ross, makes it very clear that there are some benefits to getting that warrant. Because what if the officer is wrong? What if the court did not believe there was probable cause, that there was evidence of that shooting in that car? Then we have a fruit of the poisonous tree issue. But what's more important is that if you got the warrant, and let's say there was no probable cause, but the judge gave you the warrant anyway, do you know that there's a doctrine out there called arguable probable cause that says that if the warrant was not so facially invalid, and that people wouldn't think there was probable cause, but it's like a debatable case, they're gonna give the deference to the fact that the cop got the warrant. You see what's going on there? So even if you're wrong, you get to keep your evidence if you went to take the time for the warrant. So it also reduces or eliminates suppression hearings. I'm a big fan of getting warrants for big cases, right? Warrants are really not that hard to get. Anybody can write a warrant, and the courts are pretty lenient on on what's required in that warrant. They don't require a PhD level report writer. They just want the cops to relay what they think is going on in scene and why there is reason to believe that there's more evidence in that car. And, again, judges are very deferential. I'm not saying that they are not critical of search warrants. I'm just saying that, generally speaking, it's pretty rare for a judge to not sign off on a warrant. And there you go. So that's your answer. The cop could do it. I hope this question has helped you get it right every single time. Stay safe. Please hit like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.